Welcome to the Entertainment Audio Show with Jordan and Lane. I'm Jordan.
And I'm now deaf. Ow, my ears. No, I'm kidding. Hi, I'm Lane.
May need to turn my mic down a little bit.
No, I turned you up, and yeah,
Oh,
I was
okay.
deaf
So,
for a second. You're good. You're good. I'm
all
not.
right.
That's the problem.
Oh man. Well, we're back in the place
Starting
doing the
off
thing.
strong.
Doing better than last time, I should say though.
Well, kinda. Anyway,
Well, yeah,
life got in the way again. At least
yeah.
on my end. Yay, new jobs. Anyway,
Oh,
so,
yep.
well, no, I think I've mentioned my job before, so we're good. But let's get started.
Do this.
So up first, I have something that under the spoiler free that I'm pretty sure you have not been watching.
I have not watched a
So
single episode.
I think it's relatively good. It's Superman and Lois,
I've heard
and
really good things.
it's surprisingly good, but it is definitely like not DCU or
It.
DCEU. Sorry,
So you're saying it? I mean, it's CW
yeah, it's
DC, so
1000%.
you
It's
have a level of
Arrowverse.
expectations for that.
Yes, but I will be honest. To me, it kind of annihilates the CW expectations because it's not like previous Superman shows. I don't
Okay.
think. I think it's
Okay.
very much kind of new ish, but the problem is now they just had their last episode, I think this week. I have not seen it yet.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit behind, but I've seen some clips and things and I'm sad now. So,
Oh man.
no spoilers, but it's something. And it's special too because it's just and this show's ending marks the end of the Arrowverse, which is Green Arrow, The Flash, um Supergirl,
Legend of Tomorrow.
that one that I can never remember the name of because I didn't like it. Anyway,
You didn't like it?
no, I was not a fan.
Okay.
I was not a fan. Just there was so much good, and it might have been like I'm a person that I like. I don't mind a team of leads, don't mind it, but that show seemed like there was 47 leads, and
That's
I'm
fair.
like,
That's fair.
that's like okay, cool. I don't know, and then it just kind of came out at a weird time, and I'm gonna be honest, I never really liked Laura Lance,
Oh no,
just
I didn't either.
weirdly so, and when so she was essentially one of the main leads of this show, I just kind of went, meh.
I will say because I watched the Arrowverse till I think it was the end of the seasons after the huge crisis on Infinite Earth.
That's about where I
Um,
stopped too.
I will say that I think I like Laurel better in Legends of Tomorrow than I did in Arrow.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But it just wasn't my key. But this doesn't leave a bad taste in your mouth. Now, they made some creative decisions that were interesting. Like, especially in this last season, like I've never seen a comic do what this show did in
Okay.
regards to I'm not gonna spoil it, but like it took this left hand turn and I was like, oh, we're steering away from the comics now. But it was like very much something that would happen. And it was
Okay.
interesting to see this turn, and it was interesting to see. Now, I might be wrong. There might be a precedent in comics. I'm just not aware of it. But it is worth at least knowing the story. Maybe not binge watching all 4 seasons or
I
five.
At some
How many
point,
are
you
it is?
will, 'cause one thing me and my brother want to do is finish all of that because we put so
Okay,
much time into it.
true. It's
And
it's worth it in that case. Like if you're gonna
okay,
do that, if you already have the drive, it's a good one to end on, in my opinion.
I will say the first
Um,
few times you see that Superman in Supergirl, he's a really good Superman. Like I
he
liked him a lot.
he is, and in my opinion, he doesn't Like even toward like or like later on, he never falls off. Like to me, he's still that same quality of Superman. And
Okay.
now you get to see him. This is not really a spoiler because it's in all the trailers. He's a dad to two sons now, two twins. And it's hilarious to see the Man of Steel kind of not know what he's doing in fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like most fathers feel like they don't know what they're doing. And there's like different turns and stuff like that. And it's interesting too because they took a lot of stuff from comics, but then they made it their own, which I thought was really cool. And the actor they got to play Lex Luthor, I was like, that doesn't seem right. And now I've seen him, I'm like, oh,
Is
that
it
definitely seems right.
is it the same person who played him in the Crisis stuff?
No,
No.
no, it's not
Okay.
because this is a different planet or like a different Earth rather. So it's a whole nother ball game.
Okay.
This actor, I'm trying to find the IMDb of it quickly so I can tell you, but he doesn't appear until the end of the second to last season, and then let's see. I'm trying to quickly find. Oh, it's this guy. I just saw him. Oh gosh, Michael Cudlitz. He's been in this Unspoken, Beautiful Disaster, Bosch Legacy. He was actually in Invincible. He was Red Rush, the voice. He's in The Walking Dead. He was the NASA director in Young Sheldon. Like he's done a lot of things. He was in Call of Duty Modern Warfare too, but it just says additional voices.
Like
He's done a
every
lot of things.
I feel like
Hmm?
every time we look up a voice actor, an actor, they always have, somehow they always end up appearing in a Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, especially if they've got iconic voice, like iconic voices. Most
Hmm.
definitely. Um, and this guy has a very iconic. Like you hear him and you're like, oh, I know. Like he's one of those actors that you know who he is, but you don't know who he is. Like you
Right.
don't know him by name, you know him by voice, and so it's really really cool to see that. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Yeah. Well,
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but
okay. Well, I look forward to getting back into all that because the Arrowverse, when it's great, it's actually really great. But when it's not,
when it's
it's
bad, it's
not.
bad.
Because there were a couple seasons of Arrow. At first, it was just Arrow. There was a
Yeah,
couple seasons in the middle of Arrow that were rough, then from what
and
I've
then it got
heard,
worse, and then it
from
got
the
better
point I'm
again.
at later, the Flash has its bad moments.
Uh, I think I skipped like entire seasons and never
Yeah,
went back. I didn't finish the show. I couldn't finish the show.
yeah, I heard
When
it
I
gets
hit
really
the
bad towards the end.
when I hit the rough patch, I think I hit the first rough patch. And to me, the first rough patch was so rough, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
That's it. I can't. I like, and same thing happened with Supergirl. Supergirl was fun, and then something happened. I backed away. Superman and Lois has been the only one that to me has kept my attention. Granted, they only ran for 4 seasons,
right.
but
Because Flash went for
they they went for a long time. But Superman and Lois was the one that like held my attention for like an extended period of time. And I looked forward to the next episode. Even when the episode like I had the end of the episode, I was like, that's weird. Can I see another one? And like missing out and forgetting about it for a little while. And then remembering it and getting to binge watch like an entire season in like 2 days on accident.
right.
Oops. And then realizing that I'm actually caught up and now have to wait for the show to end. So yeah, but there's some other fun shows like that, but This one was kind of the one that kept my attention.
Okay.
That's kind of the only show in the list. I'm realizing that now. Nope, there's one more,
There's
but
one
we'll
more.
talk about that later.
Well, real quick before, and this is something I just thought of. I'm only going to talk about it really quickly while we're talking about DC shows. Uh,
Mhm.
I watched the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos today.
Oh, I
That
forgot
released today.
about that. Oh, how okay. Keeping it spoiler free.
Spoiler free, and it's not going to be much because it's only 2 episodes that came out today.
Yes. But that's a show that I've been looking forward to. I
I
think.
can't wait to hear what you think about it.
I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to wait till the January episode for that. But
And it should be. I think it'll all be out by then. I
wait,
think
when you say that, that I'm terrified now.
it's man. It's. I'm just gonna say
Do
because I
you
know
think
what you
I'm gonna
thought.
like it?
I know what you thought about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Oh no.
It's. It is very similar to that in animated form.
Maybe I won't be watching it. Hold up. Because it's gonna be interesting. Because if we watch that through and through, we can watch What If season 3, right? And then talk about both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Because doesn't that happen between Christmas and New Year's?
I believe so. I think it's December 20
Something like
something.
that. Oh yeah. And that will be post Christmas special. Listen to the Christmas special. Okay. I'm
Also,
excited about that.
I also watched the
I've
first
been.
episode of The Penguin
How was that?
today. I like that a lot.
Okay.
I only
That's
watched
another
one
one. Like,
episode when I was waiting
yeah,
for you to be ready to record. I'm like, let me go ahead and start
my
this because I
bad.
have Max right now for a bit.
I hadn't eaten all day except for like a biscuit this morning, and my family was going to the catfish restaurant. So I was like, nope, I need food. I
Elaine loves
got
his
fried
catfish.
jalapenos. Oh, you have no idea. My favorite. You know my favorite memory of catfish not in Mississippi. Uh,
Yeah, I was there for most of them.
yeah, not for the first one.
Not the first.
Remind me, and I'll tell you that story. That's not a story because if I tell you the story, if I tell the story on the podcast, I have to tell you where the story took place, and it was at a Cracker Barrel, but I'm not gonna say which one.
We're not telling which one.
Jordan, you know which one, but
This
the
I think
audience doesn't.
I feel like we need to make a story that explains some of our inside stories.
I don't think a story to explain our inside stories could work.
No, it could not.
Like,
We'll figure
like
it out.
fire
Anyways,
truck. Just keep remembering
catch up,
fire
fire
truck.
truck.
Catch up, fire truck. Oh my god.
But yeah,
Anyway,
but
but
I did like that first episode of Penguin a lot.
okay.
It's very well written, and I'm excited to get through it. So yeah,
Good.
there's our little
Well, then I'm gonna have to watch it.
unexpected little part of DC.
So that's gonna be fun. So next month we'll get to talk about Creature Commandos, the Penguin, and then uh
What if?
my brain just went blank completely. I forgot how to breathe for a second. I am exhausted apparently. Okay. Cool. And my brain is on a video game, so this is gonna be great. But speaking of all of that, that's not a good transition. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So that's kind of all of the shows except for one, but I want to kind of save that one to the end of the spoiler-free section, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But and we've discovered that there are some movies that you've seen that I haven't, and some that I have and you haven't.
Yes, but there is one that we have both seen.
Yes.
Well, two now, but we'll talk about the other one later.
Oh yeah, that.
But it's more so we've talked about that one a little bit already.
Oh
So let's go
yeah,
to this one.
I forgot about that one honestly. So yeah, so Moana 2.
Moana 2.
Why is it that everybody that says it sounds disappointed in their voice? I feel like terrible by saying that because it wasn't a bad movie.
No, it was not.
It just wasn't a great movie.
I will say I went into that movie with very low expectations. And I came
Really?
out being like, that actually that was okay.
I think I did too, and that's been the huge thing. So I think if I remember correctly, uh, Lin Manuel Miranda had nothing to do
No,
with this one, correct?
he did not have anything to do with this.
And I think that was a huge problem,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
There's something I want to say that I think I might leave
Yeah.
for spoiler filled because it has something to do with that.
Yep.
Um,
I was about to start talking spoilers. I'm glad you said that. I just wasn't
yeah,
even thinking about it. My bad. But yeah, I think that was a huge issue, but we can talk about that later in a bit. But yeah, so that's I kind of want to start asking about this when we start talking about stuff in our spoiler free section. On a rating from 1 to 10, what would you get it as a spoiler free number review?
Moana 2, I would give 5.5 or 6.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I was gonna say 6. I was gonna say either a 6 or a 7. While the first one sits at like an 8 or a 9, like an
The first one's a
8.5 or
10 for
9.
me.
Exactly, so good. The
I
second
love
one
that.
just didn't make the mark.
Yeah, see, and that's why I went in with such low expectations, is because I love the first Moana so much. It is probably my
So good.
favorite of the more recent animated Disney movies.
Hmm.
And so I went in being like, uh, uh, we'll see. And then knowing beforehand that it was originally a Disney Plus series that was being reworked into a movie had me very worried, because the times that Disney's done that back in the direct to video days, they're not the greatest. Because there's
Yeah.
a few of those original Disney direct to video movies they did that were they started a show and you're like, I don't think we actually make this a show. Put a few of the episodes we have together and make a movie, like Atlantis 2, Milo's Return. I think Return of the Jafar might have been like that too. I can't remember exactly, or that was a
Yeah.
pilot for the show. I can't something like that. Uh, so I had that
Um,
kind of expectation going in, and I
now
feel
I
like it
didn't
was.
feel. Hmm?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't feel like it felt like a show compiled, but
A couple times it did.
okay.
I can kind
Okay.
of tell where
Um,
like the first 20-ish minutes is the first episode,
mm,
because we
oh,
get set
that's
up.
true.
She's on the boat. She sings that song, and then it transit. Like I feel like that was probably the episode one.
So I'm wondering if they had made like 1 or 2 episodes and then made the decision, which is why the first half feels like that, and then the second half to me doesn't. But
Possible. It's possible.
again, we can talk about that more when we get to spoiler because I'm about to start like without thinking about it. I was about to
I
start
almost
talking
did it
more.
too. I almost did it
Yeah,
too. I
so
had this.
we'll stop there. And we'll talk about that again. So I think we're in agreement that we're at like a 5.5 or 6, and then 7 at the absolute. I feel like if you go in with no expectations, you can come out with a 6.5.
Yeah,
Other than that,
I'll say that
it's a 5.56.
the moments that are great are great. The moments that are
Oh yeah.
not, not the best, but not the
Yeah.
worst.
Well, okay. So before we talk into spoilers on accident, you
Move on to
saw
the
this
next one.
next one.
I did.
You saw this one and I didn't. So give me another. I want to start doing this. I think giving like number ratings might be a good idea, just to help kind of gauge the other person a bit.
Okay. This next one comes with an asterisk.
Mm?
Yeah. I kind of explained a little bit to you before what happened with this one. So it's probably
Pretend like I don't
probably like
remember
the
because
one of the
I
biggest
don't
movies
remember.
out right now. Moana 2 is the biggest, and Wicked is by far the second biggest, if not biggest, because it's still, I mean, it beat Moana in the box office today. Wicked.
That doesn't surprise me.
But kids are in school today.
That's why it
Uh,
doesn't surprise me.
Wicked's main audience, or maybe not as much in school. Um,
Yeah.
and the reason I say that I need to give an asterisk on this one is because this is a movie that I kind of feel like I need to see again. Because there were
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of external variables happening in the theater that I need to make sure that's not what was affecting my thoughts on the movie itself.
I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For one, there was a baby that kept crying,
He didn't
and
want to
then
be in Wicked.
they left, and then they came back and they started crying again. That was like literally behind me, like 2 rows behind me.
They
But
took it
also it
outside,
was
threatened to turn it green, and then brought it back in.
yeah. There's also a million degrees in the theater. So I kept getting like hot flashes, and I thought I was having a panic attack at one point. So I don't know if that's the reason why that this felt like the longest movie I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know if that's the reason why, or if it's because it was horribly paced. I
So
don't
then,
know.
then let me say this: hold off on giving us your number yet,
Okay,
because the only reason I say that is I don't want you burned at the stake for this,
so let me tell you a funny story.
unless you're sure of it.
So it's funny you say that because when the movie ended, I saw this with my brother and a lot of his friends, most of which are theater kids.
Of course.
And we saw it opening Saturday, I think, or Friday. It was an opening weekend, so that theater was packed, which is also probably the reason why it was that hot in there. Um, so we were, the movie ended, lights come up, we all look at each other, they're talking. I'm sitting here sweating and being like, and they look at me and like, what did you think? I'm like, I'm gonna wait until I get out of this theater before I start talking, so I can make sure I get out of this theater. And they're like, oh no. And I just kind of was like, I don't know if I liked it. But then they all started talking about how hot they were in the movie too. And I'm like, okay, maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Maybe if I see it in a theater that's not a million degrees without a baby, maybe it'll be better. But yeah, man, I felt legit. There's a lot of it I liked. There's a lot of it I did like. But man, it towards the last like third of the movie, I got to the point where it's like, I need this movie to be over.
I can understand that. I can understand it. I haven't yet. I've yet to see it. So, because my brain has shifted elsewhere, to Christmas. So it'll probably be after, if it ever hits a streaming service, when I finally
It's
get to
a
see it.
it's a
So
it's a Universal movie, so it'll be on Peacock probably first of the year somewhere.
perfect.
I don't know if it's still making bank like it's right now. Who knows?
Never to your, never coming to streaming.
Never coming to streaming in theaters forever. It'll be like uh Fantasia,
Oh
where it
God,
just re-releases in theaters every
every
year.
10 years. Oh, every year. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When it first released, it was every year.
On its anniversary.
Well, technically, no, that's kind of a spoiler. No, I think most people that are listening to this probably know at least this part.
What? I don't know this part.
Well, it's not really a spoiler. Because they talked about it a lot.
Here's a spoiler. Oh
If they've
no,
seen the
never
movie.
mind.
We're currently sitting in what it would be the world's longest intermission.
Oh,
Because
it's only like the first half of the movie.
it's the first act of the play.
How many acts are in the play?
Two.
Oh,
It's a
okay, that
two-act
makes me feel
play.
better.
Um, so like essentially where the first act of the play of the musical ends, and you would have your intermission, your 15-30 minute intermission, and then act two would start. We're currently sitting in a 1 year long intermission to get to part two.
I was not aware.
The wild thing
So
is, and
that's fun.
everybody talking to everybody we were with, they're like, I'm very curious to see how they do this because the entirety of the Wicked musical is 2.5 hours long. This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So the
Oh my!
entirety of this act one of Wicked is longer than the entire show.
Absolutely fun stuff.
Yeah. So you can imagine sitting in a million-degree theater for 2 hours and 40 minutes is, but yeah, it's probably, but I'm hoping to see it soon. I know I have a few movies that are coming out recent soon that have some big importance to me, so like I'll squeeze it into one of those days.
Well, you also saw some other films recently that I haven't seen.
I did. We're gonna shift to animation.
Go for
Um,
it.
this first one I watched on Paramount Plus recently, and I missed this in theaters, and oh boy, do I regret it. This is probably one of. Let me say what it is first. It's Transformers One, the animated Transformers movie that came out earlier this year. Uh,
It's
kind of,
already on Paramount Plus.
it is because they did not do well in the theaters. They marketed this movie horribly, so they got pulled from theaters early, and it was put
Oh,
on. It was put on Paramount Plus, I think about a month ago.
okay. So
Um,
maybe I'll watch it then. Is it worth it to me?
it's up to you. I see. My entire life I've loved Transformers. I watched the old original animated show. I watched the animated movies. I even
Okay.
like most of the live action movies. Most.
Okay.
That being said, Transformers: The Last Night is one of my top 5 least favorite movies I've ever watched.
Jeez.
Uh, but most of the Transformers movies I can find some kind of enjoyment in it. But I do love like 3 of them, both the more
Um,
recent ones and then the original 2007 one. So I love Transformers. I've had the action figures. Uh, so I went in this movie and I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know it was a prequel. Um, but this movie, no joke, depending on how this month goes, this movie very well may wind up in my top 5 of the year.
Whoa, that's not the direction I thought that sentence was going.
I love this movie. Now, I really liked most of the movie. The last half hour or so, I
Okay.
was locked in.
Well, then I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this off of spoiler filled
Because you're gonna watch it now.
because you caught my interest. Because
Yeah,
I had zero interest in this movie, and
it's
now your reaction being literally the complete opposite of what I expected you to say has caught me off guard so
yeah,
badly.
dude. The animation is beautiful. The story is really good. The writing is fantastic. But that last half hour is like
I'm getting
jaw
anxious now.
on the ground for like a half an hour.
Well, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Highly recommend it. I hate I didn't see
Watching like
this in theaters.
17 movies.
Man, really very very good, very good. I think on Letterbox I think I gave it a 5 out of 5,
Oh wow.
which that is reserved for a small handful of movies. I think I've given out 3 of them this year. One of which those movies was not probably weren't worth a 5 out of 5 on quality, but for me it was. That's Twisters. I love
No.
Twisters. Picking
I
my top
love
5 at the end of the year is going to be harder than I thought it was going to be. Let me put it that way.
well we needed well I want to do that. I want to do that for our New Year's episode. We
Oh,
talk about our top 5 of the year. And I know our top 5s are going to be drastically different.
I have that feeling. I have that feeling too.
Cuz you already know one of them is in my top 5. Both
Hmm.
saw it this last month, and I'm going to be talking about it at the special.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about that today.
No. That's Red 1 for those curious. Anyway, but I have reasons. I have reasons that it's one of my favorites. So, but yeah, I've removed that one. There was another one that you've seen about another robot.
Yes. Oh wow, another animated movie about robots.
So I
That
don't know anything about this one other than like one trailer that I saw.
okay. I feel like the trailers didn't tell anything about this movie.
I don't get it. What
I
I want
I
to
did
see
see
it.
this one in theaters, and
Was
I
it
highly
good?
recommend anybody watching this movie just be ready for just be ready to have tissues nearby.
Gosh dang it.
I do warn
I
people
don't
about that.
need an emotional roller coaster right now. I
It's not
need-
really a roller coaster.
You say that, and
Um,
I'm going to cry.
I
Well, you
also
said I was gonna cry. You just said I needed tissues.
I did. I didn't say it's a roller coaster though. I never said it's not
I
emotional. I just said it's not a roller coaster.
My life is an emotional
Roller
roller
coasters have
coaster.
ups and downs.
And gosh dang it. Oh no. So you're telling me it's just Splash Mountain, it's got one down.
No, it's like Tower of Terror.
Oh heck.
No, it's not that. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But I did really love this movie. This one also is
Okay.
probably gonna be a contender for my top 5, but I don't know if it's gonna quite
Really?
make it.
Two
Uh,
animated films potentially in your top 5.
it's the hey, I think I had at least I had one last year. I know for sure. Um, it could have been two. I can't
We'll
remember. I have
we'll
to go
we'll
back and
save
look.
that we'll save that discussion.
But
We'll
this
see if
movie,
there's
first of all,
anything later this month changes that
yeah,
list.
first of all, Wild Robot is a beautiful movie. The animation is stunning. So let me put it this way. To tell you how good this is. I know you haven't seen the How to Train Your Dragon movies, right?
I have not, but I've seen the trailer now for the last one.
We're not gonna talk about that. But the director of the Wild Robot also has directed the first Lilo and Stitch, the How to Train Your Dragons
Oh,
movies, and this.
oh, okay. So I'm,
It's Chris Sanders,
jeez,
who very well, I think this movie right here may have solidified him as possibly my favorite director.
that is a huge thing to say.
I love, and he has a couple more movies on his list that like he co-directed with that aren't as great. Um, but man, all of his movies I've seen that of his, I've loved them. Lilo and Stitch, the How to Train Your Dragons movies, and the Wild Robot. I am gonna say it now. I'm almost willing to put money on this that the Wild Robot will more than likely win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Jeez. Okay. Yep. I need to watch it.
It's a very, very good movie. I sobbed
Oh wow.
twice.
Oh no.
That's now granted, as people on this may have already have realized, and are almost a year of doing this, I cry at a lot of things. I
I've never
technically
seen you cry in a movie though.
not the movies we see together aren't movies that you tend to cry at.
Oh, that's true.
I didn't cry for Nobody, or was that called Nobody?
We did see Nobody together, yes.
And like The Kingsman, like the movies we see together tend not to be cry movies.
We have other reactions.
Yes,
Visceral.
because technically I shed a tear in Moana too, but it was
We'll have to
only
talk about that in a minute.
the
We're
beginning of the
definitely gonna be talking
movie.
about that in a minute. Okay. Oh, okay.
I'll explain when we get to spoiler free.
I definitely want to hear that. So
Uh, yeah. So highly recommend to anybody listening. I know the trailers didn't show much for either one of these movies. Transformers One, Wild Robot. Please check them out. They are very much worth your time.
well, there is one other spoiler-free thing. I don't know if you saw the adjustments I made.
I did. I've been watching you do this while I've been talking.
I'm sorry. Like I realized that 3 of the things we had in spoiler-free didn't belong in spoiler-free. They belonged in trailers and
Because we
tidbits.
don't have spoilers for them yet.
We don't. That's why I was like, I'm my bad. I'm the one that makes the dang outlines. I should know by now where to put things. So I just wanted to ask. So, spoiler-free review of the first 2 episodes of this last thing of spoiler-free.
Yes.
Get
Skeleton
can,
Crew.
give me your opinion.
I
Your
really
spoiler-free opinion. Hmm.
I really like it.
Okay, you cut for a second. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So for everybody who didn't if you didn't hear me, people out there in the world, I really
In
enjoyed these first two episodes of Skeleton Crew. What did
this
you
is an
think?
interest. This is interesting. It's not often that you and I disagree.
Especially on something like this.
Yeah, it's a
I think
four
I
for
think we
me.
say that, but I think every episode we've had something we've disagreed on.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the fact that it's one thing per episode. Typically, we watch a lot of things, so even one thing per episode is still not a lot of things.
That's true. That is true. I
But
will
this
say
is
I
one of
am
those
holding
things.
off like final judgment until like the show's over.
I need to finish the second episode. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't get to finish it. I but I want to hold what I'm gonna say until we talk spoiler filled because I have a comment to make about why I'm not a fan thus far. There's two things that have kind of irked me the wrong way, and yeah, I'll explain. But yeah, for me right now, with what I have seen, it's it's a 4
A 4.
out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's me being generous.
Well, I'm really
Like,
excited to hear why.
yep, it's. I'll explain in a minute. It's. I'm just not enjoying it as much. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I love about Star Wars is there will be things, and I'm aware of this. There will be things that I don't enjoy as much as the next person. And this is why I love Star Wars, is because there is something for everyone, at least in my opinion. If
Oh
you
yeah.
don't enjoy one thing, that's fine. You don't have to enjoy everything. They're expanding this fandom now, and they're trying to get something that everyone's gonna like. And I love that we now have those short series of like the anime style
Oh
Star
yeah.
Wars. And
Vision.
then yes, love Visions. I don't like anime, but there's like a couple of it's just not my style. If you enjoy anime, that's amazing. I love it. Great for you. But it's for me, it's just not something I get into. But there's like 2 or 3 Visions episodes that I was glued to my TV or my computer monitor in my case. Like I was glued to it. Like one of my favorites is in the very first season of Visions, where it's the samurai of he's like the Sith samurai, and he's actually got a lightsaber that never turns off.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that episode, and I think it's so good. And then there's like the one right behind it. Hated it. Just wasn't my cup of tea. It was the funniest thing to me because it was like none of them were connected story wise. Some of them made no sense to me, and I was like, okay, cool. But if they make sense to somebody, I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm one of these people. Like, if you get something out of Star Wars that I don't, fantastic. I'm happy because that means that you're getting to love Star Wars as much as I do.
hmm
And for me, this is one of those shows that I can see where some people thoroughly enjoy it. I just happen to not be one of those people yet. And I'm saying yet because I'm going to end up watching it unless they do something absolutely dumb that I just don't care for. I just may not watch it at the same pace as everybody else.
hmm
It might take me a bit longer to get into it, or it might be that I wait a few weeks and then just catch up, or take a few months and catch up. But I'll explain more about that during the spoiler section. But what is your spoiler free opinion?
Uh, I would say probably off of just those two episodes, I'd probably given it like an 8.
Wow,
Like a 7 or 8.
completely
Like
opposite
I really,
ends
really
of the
like it.
spectrum. Okay, okay, and I definitely want to know why
And I'm
in a
gonna when
minute.
we get to spoiler filled, I may interject something that may explain it.
Yeah, if you can change my number, by all
I don't think it'll
means,
change your
please.
number.
Really? Okay.
I think it may it may better describe my number.
Oh, okay. I will say there was one thing. There is one character in it thus far that has a 9 out of 10 for me.
I think
One
if it's
singular
who I think
character.
it is,
It's
it's what
exactly who you think it is.
it's
It's exactly
everybody's
who you think.
favorite.
Yes, it's exactly who you think it is. And I told my brother this character earlier, and he lost his mind. Like, it's fantastic. Best character in the show thus far. And I will, you know, I want like the action figure of this character.
Okay.
That's it. But okay, but on that note, uh there are some future things coming that we're both kind of looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. Future things. We're gonna talk about this one first because this one's gonna be a few years down the road. Uh, than to something that was like today.
Yeah.
And then things that are more recently
Coming
coming.
soon.
So let's start with this one. We like to talk about Disney theme parks here quite a bit. We've
Yeah.
talked about
Us
them a while.
being Disney nerds.
Yes, it had a huge announcement a couple weeks ago.
And my heart broke and got excited
Mine
at the
did
same
too.
time.
I had the most mixed feelings I've ever had about anything, I think.
Uh we're talking about the Muppet Vision 3D closure, which is devastating.
Yes. And then
And
the
then
retheming
yeah,
of Rock and Roller Coaster to the Muppets and Electric Mayhem.
which honestly I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I've had the most mixed emotions I've ever had about anything.
It's yeah.
Because for me, the Muppets hold a very special place in my heart. Muppet Vision 3D holds a very special place in my heart. So it really hurts to see that go. But also in my brain, I'm like, from an operational business standpoint, I get it.
It makes sense.
It wasn't as popular.
No.
It hurts me to
It's
say that because
I'm gonna say
I
it
go watch
sucks. But yeah,
I would go and watch Muppets every time I go to Hollywood Studios. I make a stop by Muppet Labs, and so it's gonna
that
hurt
did.
seeing it go
Uh,
away.
I hate 4D things. Me being and a huge bit of it, weirdly enough, stems from the fact that me being in the wheelchair. So many times when I see something that's 4D, I end up getting wet. And when you're in a wheelchair and you get wet because of the rain or because of a water ride or because of a 4D show, you end up having to sit in it
Mm,
and it doesn't dry
right.
when it's on your butt and you're in the
Whereas,
seat.
yeah,
Whereas when you're walking around, it dries pretty quick.
yeah, and you leave
In-
the seat you're sitting in that you got wet in.
uh-huh.
And there's
Instead,
a
I just end up chapped, which is never fun.
yeah,
So
and
that's
there's a lot of water in Muppet Vision. You get pretty wet
yep.
in it actually.
I finally figured out the places in the theater to sit to not get wet.
Hmm.
Finally figured it out. But that's literally where that stems from. I don't know if you knew that because we used to hang out in the parks all the time.
Oh, we did. Oh,
Back in the day.
I knew a lot about that building.
I learned a lot later on when I started making friends with some of the cast.
Yeah,
But yeah. So, but then I'm really excited. Like you said, Aerosmith going away. They've been popular forever, which is great. That's great and all. But I'm super excited to have the band from the Muppets take over.
yeah. If there's anything that should have taken it over, I honestly believe it should have been them. I know a lot of people were pushing Powerline, but honestly, Electric Mayhem makes more sense
By a long shot, yeah.
on the sense of a roller coaster that goes upside down.
Mm-hmm. And here's
And
another
if
thing
you've
too.
watched, have you watched the Electric Mayhem show on Disney Plus?
I couldn't finish it.
Really?
Yeah. As much as I love the Muppets, I couldn't finish it.
Oh,
Something happened. I don't remember what it was, but like my empathy scale is like off the charts. If I see somebody getting made fun of in a show, I feel terrible
oh,
and
gotcha.
or something embarrassing. So like Offshoot, the show The Office.
Yes.
I hate The Office.
You're not the only person.
Most people was very surprised though, because it's like that brand of humor. I do that a lot, but I can't stand The Office because I can't stand Michael,
That's valid. That's valid.
and
If
it's
you don't
one
like
of those
Michael, you're not
things.
going to get through that show.
Yeah, no, I think I stopped at the third season. Um, before people were like, "Oh, you fall in love with him in the fifth season," and I'm like, "That means I got to deal with him for two more." Um, but yeah, so that show has that same sort of vibe to me
Okay.
as that. A lot of those shows that are like that, I can't watch. Now, Parks and Rec, I watched that. I was fine.
I love Parks and Rec.
I've not seen most like I didn't realize how popular it was. I didn't watch it when it was a thing, but now if it's on, I'll stop and watch the episode. I love it.
Hmm.
I love the various characters. I love Ron. I love Andy. Just hilarious.
Yeah. Now,
But when it's something
Mhm.
happens that makes me kind of cringe, I'm done. If I
Yeah,
cringe, I'm done.
that's fair. That's
And
fair.
that's kind of the way that show is going. So I apologize, but I couldn't make it through. Now I might try again later, but I don't know.
Yeah. Um.
Took a very wild offshoot. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. So let's get back to the Muppets and studios. One thing that makes me feel a little bit better about this. Now we don't know. I know there's. I'm not going to talk like theories and things that could happen that we don't know about. But we got the concept art for Monsters Inc. Land when they announced this because that's what is replacing all of that.
Hmm.
It does make me feel a little bit better knowing that the building's not going away. Because in the concept art, it showed the Muppet Theater. Because it seems like everything there is going to be there, and they're building the door coaster behind all of that. And essentially
Okay.
back what would be the exit area for Muppets behind that, what used to be Streets of America and some of the things behind Muppets, that's where the building's going to go for the coaster. And in the concept art, there's a building looks identical to Muppet Theater, and the sign on that, they haven't confirmed this, but the sign on the building said Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. Which,
Oh, I didn't notice
if
that.
if they're doing this, I'm gonna miss Muppets a lot. I also really like Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, but I've said for years that it doesn't make sense in Tomorrowland.
It really doesn't. But if it
It
got
would
moved
here.
over there, it would make perfect sense.
So if there's any bright side of this, at least I know the building would still be there. I could still see the building and reminisce. And I think that building could work great for something like Laugh Floor. And it themes better. And we can maybe start working on making Tomorrowland work as a cohesive flow.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
I like how he said we can work on that. That's great.
Well, I
Because
don't know
they're
why.
gonna hire us for it.
Well, I don't know why I said we. Did I say we?
You did.
I don't
I
know why I
guess with
said
us
that.
going as much as we were there back in the day.
I honestly don't know why I said that.
Because you're just hoping that they hire us one day, even though we're just podcast people.
We're just podcaster people. I feel like
Goodness
those people on
gracious.
the internet with an opinion, we should hire them.
For nothing but to have an opinion.
We like that opinion. Get him in here.
I was gonna be like, speaking of opinions, what's your opinion? No, I'm kidding. Um,
No, speaking of opinions,
so
actually, something came out today that you've got a chance to play. I won't
yes,
be
I got
able
to
to
do the
play.
beta. Yeah, PS5. Yeah, the Marvel Rivals game. Now it's funny because right before we play, I got it finally downloaded because it dropped at like 6 p.m. my time, which was a couple hours ago. As of recording, I got it downloaded, and we needed a few minutes before we started recording, so I opened it up. I've been so looking forward to this, and now I'm like upset,
Oh
and
no!
it's the dumbest thing ever. because I'm not like upset, but it's like the character that I've been looking forward to playing the most. I don't understand how to play them because I love Captain America. He's my favorite superhero ever. I can't find the rhythm with that character, and it is terrifying
Oh
to
man.
think that I'm not going to be able to find the rhythm because I was like, he's going to be my main. That's the one I'm going to put like all my extra money into if I ever have any. He's the one that I'm going to buy like all the skins for, and it was just like I had the moment of like just this moment of oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play him. Um, help. So I'm
Oh
gonna have to run
no.
some tutorials and run some game modes with him and just try and keep trying and keep trying. But do all that before I put any money into the game. So I'm not spending money on a character I'll never play.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like
fair.
kind of terrified right now that I'll never actually get to use him. Because he's got some cool skins coming, but man, I forgot how complicated this game was. Because they got some really fun characters like Punisher's in it. One of my favorites is Jeff the Land Shark. It's amazing. It was a Marvel Unlimited comic book character brought to virtual stardom, and it's amazing. Because when
I've heard great things about
he's
Jeff.
Jeff is the literal best character in the game. Not even like it's by far the best character because when he dives into the ground, he does like the da 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 da. Like he's got his own theme, and it's him humming it. It's beautiful, and you just want to pick him up and like hug him. I'm like looking over to make sure my dog is not staring me down because I'm talking about picking up another creature and hugging it. Um, my computer screen just shut down.
Oh no.
Okay, if I don't move my mouse periodically, my computer's like, "You're done. You're done." Like, no, I'm recording. Please stop. But yeah, so that. But then I'm gonna be spending hours and hours and hours playing that game. But I want to ask you, this next thing is something you're looking forward to.
Oh
Back to
yeah.
the animation thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Um,
How do you pronounce that?
Rohirrim.
Okay,
uh,
Roar of Rohirrim.
yes, Lord of the Rings, Roar. Oh man.
I've messed you
But
up.
I'm sitting here trying to like slow down and say it, and my tongue is still trying to make the wrong sound. I can't
Look
even
at
say
that.
war. War right. It's wanting to say roar. Um roar. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Uh it is a technically a prequel to the Lord of the Rings movies. Um it's an animated movie. Um it's set I think 187 years before the main Lord of the Rings movies in the nation of Rohan, which is where I would want to live if I lived in Middle Earth. It's not what I would be. I'd be a hobbit for sure, but
We
I'd love to be Rohirrim because I love horses, and they are very much like a horse colony. Everything about their culture is like formed around the horses. Um, but this is a movie. It's not. It's technically like hinted at in some of the indexes of the Lord of the Rings books. So there's like a whole like there's whole like I don't know what to call them chapters. There's whole like sections of the book that are just explaining like some of the history of Middle Earth. And this is something that's like talked about, so they've kind of expanded upon it. Um, I'm very excited for it because I love Lord of the Rings. The animation looks stunning, and I also like anime. It's a very anime esque animation. Uh, so yeah, I'm very excited for this movie. It comes out next weekend.
Oh wow, that's fast. I did not
Yeah,
know that it was coming out so soon.
yeah, same day as another movie that where I'm not quite excited for Craven.
Okay, I do want to see that one.
I do
Like,
want to see it. I didn't say I'm excited for it.
I feel like
I
it's
have to be careful with Sony.
Yeah, most definitely. They've burned us many times before, and
Sometimes
yet
you
we
get
keep going back.
sometimes you get Venom, sometimes you get Madam Web, sometimes you get Morbius. You never know what you're gonna get with them.
And sometimes you get Venom 3.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later because I finally got to see it.
All right, so the last two things are upcoming live action films, kinda, but with
Yeah.
animation qualities.
Uh-huh.
How to Train Your Dragon and Sonic 3. One of them comes out, so Sonic comes out in just a couple weeks.
Same day as
I know they
Mufasa.
Mufasa. I was not excited about that. I'm sorry, Mufasa. I want to talk about that for half a second. When we saw my brother and I saw Moana 2, they got weird with the trailers. We had a trailer for the live action Snow White next year. Not looking forward to it. Probably won't see it. But it was in Spanish for some reason.
What?
Yeah, our trailer was in Spanish. We're in South Mississippi. Yes, there is a population of that here, of people that speak Spanish. But
You would also
we,
think that they would do Spanish trailers for a movie that's either in Spanish or a movie that or trailer that's being played before a movie that's being played in Spanish.
yeah, which is perfectly fine. Like, I have no problem with trailers in Spanish. I have no problem with that. No problem at all. But it stuck out like a sore thumb because it was the only trailer in Spanish, and it wasn't like it was like Spanish subtitles with or English subtitles with Spanish. It was dubbed in Spanish, and it like all the words, like the directors, like directed by, it was in Spanish, and
That's wild.
it was so. And again, no complaints. It was just confusing.
Right.
And it was even funnier when the name of the movie popped up because across the screen it just says Blanco Nieve, and I was just like, "What?" And it was a little unnerving.
a little
Because,
little shocking.
yeah, because it was just big, the same, like the normal, like the gold letters. And again, I'm not making fun of it being in Spanish at all. It was
In the
just
situation.
in the situation, it was funny. I need people to
Unexpectedly funny.
hopefully understand it. It was unexpectedly funny. It was a cool thing to see that they're actually starting to release trailers in other languages, even though I don't speak those languages. But when every other trailer is in English, and suddenly you get Blanco Nieve, you're just like, I don't even think I'm pronouncing that right, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
just Blanco pops up, and you're just like, that means white, I think. Um,
That's
but
that
yeah,
is that is kind of funny because what you're about to say about Mufasa, I think something I actually said that about Snow White. I've also not been excited for this movie, but I think that trailer made me think that's like, okay, maybe it's not as bad.
yes, I had the same exact reaction where it was. I saw the trailer for Snow White and was like, no, thank you. And then immediately saw the trailer for Mufasa and I was like, please and thank you. Like, very different reactions. And then there was also the trailer for the How to Train Your Dragon
Hmm.
at the beginning of that movie.
Luckily I didn't get that.
Dude.
I've
Okay,
seen
we're
the
having
trailer.
opposite reactions about that too.
I've seen the trailer.
Because that made me want to see the movie.
I don't want this movie to exist, so
Oh, we'll be talking about that later. Well, now actually, can I ask why?
because I'm very when it comes to live action remakes of things, I'm very much like it needs to serve a purpose to why you're doing it. Because most of the Disney live action remakes, they've done something in it that's made it worth, you know, being done. Like they've changed something a little bit, they've added story beats to it. They've done things like that that make it worth it.
Yeah.
And they very well may do this with this. But this is a movie
Yeah.
franchise, and it's the same thing I say about Moana. I said it last time on the last episode about Moana live action. these movies are not that old. Why are we already remaking them in a live action movie?
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lack
Which
of creativity there. The teaser trailer they showed was almost beat for beat exactly the teaser trailer of the original How to Train Your Dragon movie.
Yeah, it was the one they showed at the theater. I think it was a full. No, it was a teaser trailer, and it was the same beat for the original. I hope that that's just to get people riled up. So,
It's a
as
teaser. So,
someone that like I saw the first one, I saw the animated one. I don't know, like I don't know how I feel about it. Like I saw the original, like How to Train Your Dragon. It was fine. I think I watched part of the second one. Didn't care for it. Never watched any of the other ones.
and that might be why you
Now,
have a different reaction to this.
yes, very much so. And
Because
that's
it's been
probably what I believe
documented
too.
in audio form several times how much I love those movies.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm going in almost with the same exact thing of I had with The Lion King.
Okay.
But with The Lion King, at least that had come out 20 years ago,
That's
or
true.
a little less
And
than
now we're
20 years
getting
ago at that
Mufasa.
point. And now we get Mufasa. And I actually made a joke with my brother that they wanted to make this Mufasa movie, but they needed to make a live action Lion King first so they could make a prequel to that movie.
I'm really starting to think that you're right about that. I'm really because you're using the same voice actors for the other two.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking that you are correct in saying that. And then
So
the funny thing as well is, oh, my brain just went blank. I like though how they took the criticisms from the Lion King. I still haven't seen it, but the live action Lion King, where they made them very realistic, but that meant that they showed very little emotion
yeah.
across the faces,
No,
and now they've kind of
they showed emotion
stepped
like
back. They're
animals
like,
show emotion.
okay, yeah, in the first one, and now they're like, okay, no, we need to make them more humanistic.
And it doesn't look as goofy as I thought it would.
No, it doesn't. That looks
It is
really.
a little
It's like a,
goofy at first.
and then when you get used to it, you're just like, oh, that's cool.
First
Like you
time I
just
saw
kind of
Mufasa's
accept it.
first time I saw Mufasa smile in the first trailer, after seeing, the original one and, me
You
knowing a
being
lot
obsessed
about
with animals.
actual lions, and seeing lions a lot, it was kind of weird to see one perk up and smile.
That moment of just, oh gosh.
It's like, oh my goodness.
But then, like when you get used to that initial shock, it doesn't bother as much. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then,
So I will say though, the new trailer they showed before Moana for Mufasa, I like better than the
Mhm.
last trailer
Yeah,
because I like the teaser a lot. I didn't like the first official trailer, and I like this trailer, but I do feel like they're showing too much, and I think there's a reason for it.
I hope it's good. I'm just at that point. I I'm just gonna pray that it's good and back away slowly. But I'm gonna ask you this last thing in the trailers and tidbits: Sonic 3. I have to
Mhm.
watch the second one. I'm so excited that Keanu Reeves is in. Because I'm very surprised at how much I love Shadow being voiced by Keanu Reeves. And I think we talked about that last month, so I won't talk about it too super long. Is that something you're gonna see?
Uh, Opening weekend for sure.
Okay. It'll probably be the second weekend before I can get to it because I gotta go watch the uh the second one first. Oddly enough,
Yeah,
but
I've said on this pod a few times how much I love everything they've done in this universe so far, and the new trailer for Sonic 3 looks awesome.
it does. It looks so good. So at this point, we've kind of wrapped up talking about trailers and tidbits, uh, and talked about our spoiler free section. So we've talked about a lot already, but we're about to talk about a few things with spoilers. So if you want to avoid spoilers, This is where I'm gonna request you stop and come back later. So I'm gonna give you a moment to do that. Are you still here?
I'm still here.
Are they still
Are they
here?
still? Are they? If they don't want to hear spoilers, I sure hope not. Because here we go.
All right. So first up, you. So
Me.
with Wicked, yeah.
Yeah. Um. I had
Go
something I
ahead.
wanted to say specifically when we were talking about non-spoilers, and it had left my brain.
Oh no.
I should have wrote this down. Do you remember
We
what I?
definitely should have.
Do you remember what I said I was going to wait and talk about later? Because I
Nope,
said
not a
that.
clue.
Oh gosh. Well.
This is why
Um.
the two guys that forget everything. Yeah, we should start a podcast.
I need to write things down. um.
I don't remember to write things. I don't remember to write things down.
I will say, because I don't remember what it was. Maybe it'll come back to me if I start talking. My more
Probably.
broad thoughts on this movie. I like sometimes when I talk about things negatively, I like to make the sandwich, the positive, negative,
Yes.
positive sandwich.
Is there enough to
Um.
do that?
Oh, there's absolutely enough to do this because
Okay,
this
perfect.
movie is. It looks beautiful. The singing and the music is phenomenal. I like a lot of the acting. I like
Uh-oh.
most of what happens on the screen. Uh, Negative, and again, this is why I want to see it again. I don't know if the pacing is just horrible, or if it's just I was like, my body's like, "Hey, bud, we're going fight or flight. We need to fly," and I couldn't because I was going to finish the movie, and and it was about
You just need to start singing. If your body was doing a fight or flight, you start singing "Defying Gravity" and you'll have flight.
see, well, yeah, well, I don't even know
That's
all the words to
terrible,
Defying
terrible
Gravity.
jokes.
Um,
I don't know anything about it. I just know that there's a song called "Defying Gravity" and
there
that
is.
it's gone
It's
viral on TikTok like
it's
4
the
separate
finale.
times.
It's the finale. It's a very good song. Very good song. Uh,
I need to see the movie, but I want to wait until the second half comes out.
from my brother's friend who had seen my brother and my a couple of his friends have seen the musical live. I have not.
Mhm.
I've wanted to, have not. They said that when first they found out when people started seeing the movie that the Defying Gravity scene is 17 minutes long. They're like, how? And me have not seen the musical. I went into this very blind. I'm like, how is it not? How's it not? What got taken out? What was uh but yeah, I enjoyed a lot about the movie. I just it literally felt like the longest movie I'd ever seen in my life. And I need to see if that
They
was
took Defying Gravity and made it 17 minutes long.
yeah. Yeah. There's also a scene in the middle. It's when they go to a party, Elphaba and at that point in the movie, Belinda go to like a big party. And it's a very important scene. It's a very emotional scene. It is a very important scene. But I felt like it went on a little too long. And again, this could be because I was like, can we
You're having
hurry
hot
up?
flashes.
I'm about to like pass out. So
Oh
I want to see
gosh.
it again so I can see. But that whole scene, like after that scene was done, I'm like, wow, that was beautiful. But now I need to watch it again so I can be like, was it?
You just need to
Yeah.
wait till it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray or streaming and watch it at home. That way you control the
Well,
temperature.
well, yeah. But also, I feel like if I wait a couple of weeks, the crowd's gonna die down a little bit, especially if I go like on a Tuesday morning or something.
Oh, that's true. That's
And
true.
I'll just kind of watch it there. And I won't watch it on a day where outside was 45 degrees. So the theater's like, let's compensate for that.
Jeez. Well, goodness gracious. So knowing that, I don't remember what was your score you gave it. Did you have one for it?
I almost don't want to say yet because of that.
Oh, because of the hot flashes. I'm sorry.
If
I like thinking that's funny to me. All right.
if I was to give it one based off of that, I would give it like 5. But that almost doesn't feel right because I
Ooh.
liked so much about what I saw. But and that's why I want to see it again because I'm like, I
Yeah.
liked everything I saw. I think. Why didn't I like it? Was it because about to pass out.
Probably. Uh, but let's see if you almost pass out again. Maybe
So
that
come back
number
in
will be.
January to our January episode, and we won't talk about it very, very much. Again, I'll just give you my updated um
I'll
scores.
just look at. I'll just talk to you and be like, "Hey, did you pass out the second time?" And that'll
I mean, if it's a
whole
yes, then
commentary.
I'm gonna give up trying.
That's when you wait till it's on DVD, and then you
Yeah,
watch the first half.
when it
You
gets to
pause
Peacock.
it, go stand outside in the cold, then come back in.
Yeah,
So then you'd mentioned earlier Venom. You finally got to see it.
I finally got to see it.
What is your spoiler-filled opinion?
I liked it.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
What?
Okay. Every time that your voice cracks, you're either lying
No, no.
or
I
there's
actually
something
really
you
liked
don't
it.
want to say.
I actually really liked it. I'm trying to remember things too because it's been a few weeks.
Okay.
Because I think I
Okay.
watched the day after we recorded last time.
Oh, okay. So it has been a bit.
It's been a bit. I did like it. I liked it a lot. I think if I was to rank the three Venom movies, I think I would go 1, 3, 2.
Okay. Okay.
I do like that it was kind of self-contained. It was a very, very self-contained story.
I think I agree with your ratings, like or your ordering. I think 1, 3, 2. That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things is the fact that they've known each other only for a year,
Yeah,
and Eddie Brock
you,
now
you did tell me
has
that.
he's gained like 30 pounds, and not really, but he's gained like you can tell he's gained a little bit of weight,
Hey, he
because
was in a different universe Mexico at a bar. You know you don't know how multiverse jumping can affect your weight.
I was about to talk about the gray hair.
You never know how that affects that either.
Excuses, excuses. Uh,
I do agree though, because you said
no,
that
it's
on the
so
pod
good,
last
so
time.
good. Yeah, it's so. I'm sorry for the spoiler last time, but it's
It's not
so
really a
funny
spoiler, but
to
it made me
me.
laugh when he said it.
It's but then when you go back and watch it, makes sense, doesn't it?
It
Like
does.
the
It does.
hilariousness of it, because they've been
Um,
together a year, and he's already like, "You've aged me."
I do
Uh,
like the thought of like he's aging because it's living with Venom is such a hassle. but
so much stress. Because it's
uh
so funny. Because even when they talk about being together for a year, you can hear the excitement in Venom's voice, and Eddie Brock is just kind of like, "Yep, fantastic,
Uh,
fantastic."
and you can never, and now I know. Boop. Let me catch my brain for a second. It was like I'm gonna send you words faster than you could say them. uh, I do love, and
This is
this is
why I
the
love
thing that
having a
makes these
podcast
movies.
with you.
Do what?
I said, this is why I love having a podcast with you. Because sometimes our brains work the same way, where, like, yep, it'll just start, hey, lightning round.
Yeah.
I can't talk that fast.
Uh,
Oh, it's
but as my
great.
brain was trying to tell me, I mean, if I slow it down, um, the thing that makes the Venom movie so good is the relationship with Eddie and Venom.
Yes.
Like, there's such a great combination. I know they're both technically Tom Hardy because he plays the voice of Venom. Uh, but
I didn't know that.
it's yeah, he did the voice of Venom. And they did that, I think, because of the fact that you can have kind of his voice, it kind of similar,
Yeah.
uh,
It
as the
makes
whole
sense, but
symbiosis thing.
I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, I remember they had talked about it, when the first one came out. But yeah, they're so good together. And if since we're in spoiler field, if this is the end of Eddie and Venom with Tom Hardy specifically, I kind of sad.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I think though, I think
Did you
they've set up.
see?
I,
Do
I
you
think
remember early on the guy caught like
the one from the post credit
in the
scene.
bar? No, no, no. At the beginning of the movie,
Oh yeah, I know the vial from the post credit scene.
I don't think that was the same one because there was electricity in that vial.
Was there?
Yeah, there was like a bolt of electricity, and only
Oh, I
one
thought
of
that was the
the
same one.
symbiotes had electricicity.
'Cause I thought the
No,
one
I
in the
think it was
post
even
credit
all of
scene
it.
was a piece of Venom, and it was the piece he caught from the bar. And I thought they were having that guy come out of the cave, the bartender. I thought they were
Yeah,
hinting at the possibility of doing some kind of like Agent Venom. But if that was not the case, if it was a different symbiote, then
I'm wondering
who
if that
knows?
symbiote's gonna go ahead because they never. I that piece got separated. They never made a comment about it ever again. So yeah,
Maybe that's why I thought
uh,
it was that piece because they never talked about it
I
again.
think that's what makes me curious is if they did that on purpose. They put the electric or someone literally made a mistake. It could literally be that too. By adding the electricity in it, it could very well have been meant to be Venom, and somebody added the electrical shock, and people are just like, "Oh, it's Venom," but wait, electricity, and they might have
Yeah,
done that to confuse us
yeah,
because Sony likes to do that.
they do. They don't really know what they're doing. I think I don't think they go in
Nope.
with a plan because now I'm like, if this is, and one of the reasons I think that this is not the end of Eddie and Venom is because they introduced that Null is going to be a bigger deal in the future, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but what do you do with Null if you don't have like? I know you can do it with other symbiotes, but like
Well,
bring Null in to fight the other people we've introduced in the Sony universe of Marvel characters is makes
part of
no
me
sense.
also, yeah. Well, part of me also wonders, what if this is the end of the Eddie Brock Venom combo, and we start getting other people
So
because even
like
in the comic books, Venom had more than one uh connection. For a
that's
while,
true,
he
and
was.
like I said, they
I
had
forget
that
the other people.
the Agent Venom thing could be a possibility.
Yeah, that was another thing. That might be a way to introduce him into the. That could be an MCU thing, or that could be a Sony thing, or it could be a combo thing again.
I think it'll be a Sony thing.
I'm very curious how that's gonna go.
Despite how hard Amy Pascal wants to try, I don't think Marvel's going to let a whole lot of if they have any creative control over their Spider-Man MCU stuff, I don't think they're going to let a lot of that cross.
No, 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 no. Now I will say this: we've been talking for about an hour and a quarter at this point, and there are two other projects I want to talk about. One, I feel like is going to take a minute, so I'm not meaning like rushes through, but I know that when we hit that 2 hour mark, remember I had that editing
Yeah,
issue,
the quality issue. Yeah,
the quality like dropped off dramatically. And I know that I really want to talk about the last thing, so
that's
I want
cool.
to
'Cause
get your opinion.
I
Mhm.
don't know how much else we have to talk about Moana 2.
There's really not much other than people are disappointed, and I kind of agree with them. They thought they were going to get an amazing villain with the lady that I can't
The
remember her
Bat
name,
Lady.
that lady, and then it turned out she was just a good guy,
Well, I feel like
which
this
is
they
fine.
tried to set up something,
Yeah,
and I feel like I think in the process of a show, I feel like that reveal of her potentially being a villain, not being a villain, maybe still working with the main villain would have come off a little bit more fluid.
yeah.
In the process of a movie, not as much. Um, but I could see they were definitely like, we're gonna make a second season of this thing with this other guy. He's not happy. But I know something I wanted to say that I said I was going to save till spoiler free. It was about Lin Manuel, and how there is one song in particular that sounds like they tried to make a Lin Manuel Miranda song without Lin Manuel Miranda. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
No.
There's there's technically two, but one in particular. It's Maui's song "Can I Get a Chihu?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like they tried to make a Lin Manuel Miranda song, and they like
1000%.
wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
But there's also another
Now,
song earlier in the movie where the builder girl
mhm.
had like a rap in the middle of the song, and I'm like, Oh yeah, this is very Lin Manuel esque.
They definitely tried to recapture the feels of the music of the first, and did not do it successfully.
No, and that being said, I did tear up once, maybe twice.
What was the points?
I don't remember the second point. I don't think I remember I was teared up at one point. But the first time I teared up was actually at the very beginning of the movie when they did the same like chant thing from the first one when the movie is starting.
See, I didn't even hear that.
Well, it was like the like beginning song when the song
Oh,
is coming on. It's
yeah.
like it's the same
Apologies.
thing
Yeah.
from the original. So like we saw like the opening like Walt Disney Pictures thing, and then it was coming in, and you heard the song start, and I was like, "Whew, okay."
Getting that old feeling back, and then it was
Yeah,
like they just kind of dropped the ball. Like,
yeah. I feel like it started off strong, and then it kind of in the middle, kind of, and then ended pretty strong.
yeah,
I like her
I
with
feel it.
her demigod form at the end though,
Yes.
with the
Oh, it was
glowing
so cool that they
tattoos and
made
the
her.
and the
It
ore, and
was
her thing is the
so.
ore.
It looks so good. It
I need
looks
it in the
so
Disney
good.
park. I don't know how they'll pull it off, but
Apparently,
I
she's
need
already
to.
doing meet and greets with the Or. I saw that on social medias.
She is. She's got the whole new outfit, but she doesn't
Yeah,
have the
but I
tattoos because that's a
that
spoiler.
too. Yeah.
That's for spoiler-filled meet and greets.
Yes.
They tell everybody
I
to
think,
leave the park if they haven't seen it.
or they just, but before you go in, you just like, hey, like, have you seen the movie? Not yet. You don't want to meet her. Not here.
They physically escort you out of the park
Is it? Yes. Goodbye now.
to Disney
Goodbye.
Springs to watch the movie,
Here's $5 off of a ticket. Go.
and they wonder why there's a 2-hour wait to meet Moana. It's because you have to watch the movie first.
I didn't
Yeah.
put that together. Oh man.
um.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Now, see, you asked me something last night about
I did?
who my favorite character from the movie was, and I said it was
Yeah.
Moana. But there's a couple
Yeah.
characters I actually like the Builder Girl a lot.
I
Um,
don't remember. Oh, the boat. I keep forgetting who you're
yeah,
talking
she built
about.
the boat builder. I liked her a
Yes.
lot
I
too.
love
But
her.
you said that your favorite character is still your favorite character from the first one, right?
Yep.
And that is
Hey, hey.
hey boat snack.
Boat stack. My favorite character, because he's voiced by one of my favorite voice actors too, and it's the funniest character. Any movie he's in, he's automatically my favorite character. It's just
Mhm.
how it is because he gets so into the roles that he plays, and we're talking about Alan Tudyk, I believe
Yeah,
is how
Alan
he
Tudyk.
pronounces it. And he plays. He went to Juilliard. I don't remember if he graduated or not, but he went to Juilliard. He did that whole thing, and then now he plays a chicken.
He
It's
does
just
play
this
chicken.
dramatic. Hmm. Do what?
What?
Did you say something?
I said yeah. He does play a chicken.
Oh, my bad. I didn't. Again, I was so focused on the chicken for a second. But he plays K2SO in Rogue One. My favorite droid for a long time has been K2SO, but it might be changing. Um, I'll explain that in a minute. But with Moana 2, the chicken, and it's so funny. There's points in it where he's like, especially with the call where he swallowed the seashell and accidentally does the call, and Moana's looking for it. So
Hmm.
funny. My favorite point that was, I don't remember where it was in the movie, but there's a point which something dramatic happens, and Hey Hey's eyes connect, or like they
Oh
look
yeah.
forward, like at the
Like,
camera, and I was just like, oh my word, they broke Hey Hey. And then the eyes went right back. I was like, oh, he's okay. And it's just the little things like that. Now, there were a couple of things that I absolutely hated in this movie.
okay.
Absolutely hated. And it was the fourth wall breaks.
Oh, is it the
Except
princess
for that
thing?
one. Where the princess comment
That actually
and the
made me
tattoo
chuckle.
looked directly. It made me chuckle. But this is not that.
It's not that movie.
like it doesn't belong in that movie. And then there was one thing that he said. It was a comment that it was something that Maui said that was something along. It was some comment about slang. He used slang for nowadays, something that happens in today's time. I don't remember what the slang was. He
Oh,
looks at the group
it was the
confused.
butt dial.
Oh, the butt dial. Are you sure with a butt dial? That'll be funny in 2,000 years. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. That's an Aladdin thing
yeah,
because he's a demigod. He wouldn't know what happens in 2,000 years. He lives in the now, which is then for them.
yeah,
That sentence makes sense if you don't think about it. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
so
But
it's
I also
very much
agree
like,
about the. I like I
go
said, I
ahead.
chuckled at the. I'm still not a princess. Well, a lot of people think you are. That
Yeah,
made me chuckle, but I agree. It's not that movie.
I will say that if they had left it at that, that'd have been funny. I'd have been okay with that. But the fact that the camera essentially, or like the in whatever camera cuts in to the tattoo, and the tattoo just looks at the camera.
Yeah,
If they hadn't had that shot, I'd have been fine with it. But the fact that it broke the fourth wall, I was like, nope, nope, burn it at the stake. No, stop
yeah.
that. Bad Maui, bad. um, that and then the other comment, and then like you said, the fact that Lin Manuel Miranda didn't have anything to do with it, but yet they tried to do the rap. They're like, we can make another iconic rap. No, no, you cannot.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it definitely
No,
wasn't Lin Manuel.
iconic. And that's the thing too. And I know who did some of the music for this film, and they're brilliant. It's two girls. Um, one's name is Emily Bear. She's a piano prodigy, and she's been around since she was like 4, playing
Hmm.
piano. And it's I don't know. They did something last year where they did the unofficial Bridgerton musical or something like that,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she got
I think I know
into
what you're
they got
talking
into
about.
some trouble with it. I don't know if you know about that. Like they got into some trouble, like some legal trouble with it. And so ever since then, it's weird because it feels like that's the only thing I've been able to think about. They tried to wait enough time before mentioning anything about them again, and they're like, "Hey, look, we got them for this movie," and I'm like, "But what about that?" Like
Yeah,
that was the last thing that I heard about that. They need like so many places, so many companies do that where they just instead of making a comment about something bad that's happened, if they had acknowledged the fault, I'd be fine with it. But that's all I can think about when I hear that name now.
that's fair. That's fair. But now that being said, before we jump to this next thing, how do you feel about Lin Manuel Miranda doing the music for Mufasa?
I'm so excited. That was. Did you hear me beat my desk? I'm sorry.
I
Uh,
did not catch that.
okay, yeah, I beat my desk with my hands. My hands hurt now a little bit. Uh, yeah, I'm pumped. It was that I saw. I think our trailer had a piece of, or I saw something the other day before seeing the trailer in the Moana movie, where it was him talking about how he's been looking forward to doing this music, and I just kind of oh, not a clue that he was part of it. And he tends to do music that's good for the like whatever region the movie takes place in. He
Yes,
does music that fits, and
very
I'm
much
like,
yes.
that's brilliant, and I'm
He
so
did
looking
it.
forward to it because of him.
He did it with Moana. He did it well with Encanto. Uh,
Oh yeah,
so I think this is going to be I think it's just going to be if this movie winds up being terrible. I think if anything, the music will be good.
oh yeah. Even if the movie's terrible, I'm gonna download the music,
Yeah.
100%. Uh, but yeah, now we've reached this point where I guess we're gonna have a little bit of a debate. but not really, kind of, sort of, about this last thing.
Mm-hmm.
Give me. Do you want me to start, or do you want? I want you to start
You want me to start
if
it?
you're okay with it. I want you to
Okay, I
start
can
it.
start it. Because I said I wanted to wait until we got here to talk about the reason why I think I may enjoy this movie a lot. Uh, I love
We're talking
things
about
that
Skeleton Crew again for
we're talking
those at
about
home.
Skeleton
Sorry.
Crew. Yes, we're talking about Skeleton Crew. I know that they took a lot of inspiration from things like The Goonies and E.T. And I think I've said on this podcast a few times how much I love those movies,
Mm-hmm.
especially like The Goonies. And the story is not like beat for beat The Goonies, but it's got that Goonie feel because you're focusing on a group of children that are, you know, for quote unquote adventuring.
Yeah.
That could be why I really enjoyed this because it had that same, vibe as Goonies and things like that. That being said, my brother has never seen the Goonies. He also, I think, loved the show more than I did.
Okay, we're gonna have a full discussion with your brother about this in the call one day
Because he
because
said
I'll say no more.
uh, after we watched those first two episodes, he's like he's liked the shows like The Mandalorian. He has not watched Andor, um, and he loves the animated Star Wars shows, Rebels and Clone Wars. Uh, and he's like he hasn't had a show since maybe the first few episodes of The Mandalorian that caught him immediately, and he had that with this.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said you gave it. I think you said 8 out of 10, right?
I say like a 7.5, 7.58, somewhere in there.
Uh huh. Okay.
And you gave it a 4.
I did. I did.
And you said there was possibly something in particular. What
Yeah.
what is what be it?
I I've never seen the Goonies. Let me say that first.
Okay.
Though I've been told that I would enjoy it by like most people that have seen it and know that I haven't. Um, I can't stand the dad.
I
I mean,
give
I
you
can't
that.
stand it anyway. But insert wheelchair joke here. Um, no, I can't stand the dad.
I will give you that.
But I also understand the necessity of something to irk him to push the story forward.
Uh-huh.
Um, the thing that makes me say 4, because him by himself would not have made it a 4. Would have made it like 6. But the thing that made it drop to a 4 for me is I am 98% sure that I figured out the spoiler within the first 10 minutes of the show.
Spoiler.
The the big reveal that's going to happen later in this
That's because the
season.
guy's voice is iconic.
Yes. And that makes me mad. I don't
That,
want to know that.
so something really funny about that same issue with that is something I have an issue with Wicked,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be a mystery until the second act, and I've been told this by my brother because I asked him because I don't know what happens in the second act. I asked him, it's like, is the Wizard of Oz Elphaba's dad? He's like, how do you know? I'm like, because if you're gonna have that be a secret in the beginning flashback scene when you're trying to hide the face and make it a secret, don't cast the most iconic voice in Hollywood, Jeff Goldblum. Change the voice for that scene.
Yep.
And I think that's the same thing you're thinking about this.
It's the mannerisms, it's the voice.
That's Jude Law's voice and the way he talks and the way he moves
Yeah,
is very Jude Law. So as soon as he opened his
yeah.
mouth, I'm like, oh, he's 100% the captain.
And so in all of the trailers and things, the kid is so obsessed with Jedi that he's like,
But
"Oh, you must be a Jedi." What?
I don't know. The way they've hinted at it in the trailers have always had me suspicious about it.
Oh no, I've been suspicious about it since day one.
But my
But the
question is,
kid,
how you haven't seen the ending of episode 2, so
no, I haven't. I'm struggling. I fell asleep last night. Uh, Not before I turned it off because I was like, I'm too tired for this. My brain's not functioning. I have realized though that, let me say it like this: if I look at it the way that I have been looking at it, it's a 4. At some point today, I had a moment where I was like, if I just kind of relax and not focus and just try to enjoy and like shut my brain off to the fact that Star Wars, I can really enjoy this show. I would give it like a 7, but I can't do that. I don't know what it is. Something about the show, and I find the whole concept, and it's again, I get why they're like, I can understand the like logistic side of this stuff. I don't see in the things that are bugging me. I don't see this show lasting more than maybe a season, depending on how they end it. I think if it goes on more than a season, it's gonna be weird. Um, I really can't stand the dad because the fact is the kid fell into a chasm, and instead of checking on his son, he decided to go talk to the proctor first instead of figuring out what happened and seeing his son is covered in mud. Like, hey, what happened? Instead of doing that, like a good parent should, he decided to talk to the proctor first and convince them that he should like be allowed to retake the test. Now, because what happens, it like the way that I see it is the kid actively tried. He overslept, realized he overslept, tried to make it to school anyway, and failed. Now, if he had woken up and realized he was running behind and said, "Forget it, I'm not going," then yeah, I can see the dad doing that stuff. But he tried. He fell into a chasm. He got muddy trying to get out of the chasm. And instead of listening to his son, he all he cared about was that test. And that was it.
yeah. I
And
also
it
have
just
a
irked
oh
me.
sorry, you go ahead, continue.
Oh, that was it. That was it. It just irked me. That's it.
Yeah. But talking about that test, there's something going on with this freaking planet
Oh, most definitely.
because nobody thinks it's real.
Yeah.
It's being barricaded off from the rest of the universe, the galaxy. And they decide what they're going to do when they're like 9 in an assessment test.
Yep.
Their place in society. I'm like, something's gonna break about like what's going on with this planet. And that's one of the things that's got me like intrigued is like what's going on here. Um
Well, they talk about going past the barrier. I don't remember seeing a barrier.
it was just the clouds.
That's the crazy thing to me is for some reason the people on the planet call the clouds a barrier.
Well, I think it's
And
just because
then
they can't see past it. Because obviously it can go through it easily. But then it also like they said at one point when they were talking about they saw a starship leave, no transports can come in or out of the atmosphere. Like
yeah.
it's illegal. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, and I'm gonna even tell you this: the thing that really made me stop and like, I knew something was really, really off within the first like 30 seconds too. The hover buses
Yeah.
and the cars followed rails.
Hmm.
Like we've got speeders, we've got hover bikes, we get all of that stuff in the rest of the universe, and they have Arabesh on the buildings.
Hmm.
The bus driver is the same model that they used to have at
Star Tours.
uh, Star Tours, and that actually has appeared in multiple episodes of various shows elsewhere in the galaxy. So that we know at some point they've had connection, and that that droid does not look old. It looks new
Yeah.
ish, minus the gum on the back of his head. Uh,
Yeah.
that was funny. I'll admit that. So there's something weird. I think you're right. Something's weird is going on. I want to know more about that, but it just feels like I've seen this same of like similar-ish stories played before in other franchises, and
That's
I'm just
actually
like,
something that I wonder was going to ask you. It's like, do you think that they're playing the dad being as like not in his kid's life as
oh, a
so much
thousand percent.
so that when he finally comes back, he's like, I've seen the error of my ways, kind of thing?
Oh, 1,000%. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen, without a doubt. Or he's going to, because I think what's gonna end up happening, personally, I think there's a chance of this, where a high chance of this, where that's gonna be the case to a degree. I genuinely think that the rest of the planet, because he's going back with the droids, and they're gonna talk about the ship leaving. I think what's going to happen is he is going to say, "Oh, you're not going after them? Well, I'm going after them." And he's going to figure out transport and get off the planet.
You think he'll recruit the parents of the other kids?
I don't think he'll have to.
Okay.
I think they'll volunteer,
Well, that's what I meant. Like,
except for the mother.
yes, because I think she may be behind some of
Girl.
the goings ons.
No.
Um, speaking of the other kids,
And he's going to remain a step behind the entire time. That's what. Sorry. I'll leave it at
yeah.
that.
Speaking of the other kids, your favorite character is Neil.
No.
It's not the little blue elephant guy.
Well, no, he's my second favorite.
Who's your favorite? Is it the droid?
SM33. SM33.
Yeah. Now that I said it, I'm
Better
like, I
known
gotta
it.
think who I'm talking to here. Do
Yeah. Do
you know who plays
you
him?
know?
Is that what you're about
No.
to ask?
No.
You don't know
Wait.
who?
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
I don't know if this will be as a big deal for you as it was for me.
Oh gosh, that's
Okay, it
funny.
is. Because
Yeah,
he
I know
first
who that is.
talked, and I'm like, I know that voice.
No, I
I
didn't
had to
catch that.
immediately Google it.
Didn't catch that at all.
It's Nick Frost
But,
for everybody listening.
but his name, the droid's name.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
That I put that together in the first 10 seconds of
That
him saying it.
he's the first mate of the ship, and
He's
his
the
name
first.
is Smee.
His name is SM33 or Smee. I flipped out.
That's
That was literally the moment I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish the show. Like,
that's funny.
just for the droid.
That is so funny.
Yeah. And then Neil. Okay, I will say elephants are some of my favorite animals. So yes, I love Neil. Neil is amazing.
He's
Neil is
also
my
like,
favorite humanoid.
I love the every time you have a story like this, you have the one character that's like the voice of reason kind of guy who's always like,
Oh,
I just want to go home.
I just want to go home. Oh, I learned some interesting things too. The table with his siblings sitting around and they're watching that hologram. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And Wim looks in the
Yeah,
window.
yes, yes,
Hey,
yes.
where's Neil? You know what that's from?
That's the holiday special.
That's a freaking holiday special
It's
playing
canon.
out on the table. It is canon.
You know what that means?
I I don't want to think
More
about
for
it.
my brother. This meant more for my brother when I said it than it might you. But that means that B. Arthur from the Golden Girls is canon in the Star Wars universe.
Oh my word. My brain just quit.
Yeah,
Like
man.
just jeez. And I'll tell you this, I have like a couple other gripes, but I think one of my biggest gripes, love S33. We'll watch the show for SM33, but but um that may be the only reason I truly watch it. And
Well, I
that's where
hope that it
things are
turns around
like,
for you.
I really hope it does. But I saw so much coming. And oh, the thing that I was going to talk about was this really quick, and then we can end it with this. Um this show feels like they're trying to gear it towards families, which is fantastic. I'm so glad for that. But
Mhm.
in the first like 2 minutes, they killed so many people.
Yeah, they did. Pretty
And it was
graphically
just
too,
like,
actually.
what?
Pretty graphically too, actually.
Yes. And then it was like they were like, we're gonna kill all these pirates graphically. Children. Oh. And so it felt like the first few minutes were geared towards the parents covering the children's eyes, and
Yeah,
then the rest of the show is geared towards families. My dog is flipping out.
I don't know. Star Wars violence is a weird violence. Like it's heavily violent, but it's also like not.
Like causing heartburn, like Ben Solo causing heartburn for his dad.
Yeah, yeah. But you didn't see any blood, so it's fine.
No. Well, you didn't see any blood in this. You just see people's eyes getting shot.
The most family friendly Star Wars movie is the only one that showed blood, and that's the first one.
I don't even remember it showing blood, so
When Luke cut off the, or no, when Obi-Wan cut off the arm of the guy in the cantina.
oh yeah, yeah.
Before it was back before they realized that lightsaber should instantly cauterize the wound.
Yep,
You remember now?
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
So yeah.
You know, goodness gracious. Well, on that note, and when I was talking about getting an action figure of the character, I want an action figure of Smee,
Me.
and I'm
That
gonna just call him Smee from now on because it's fantastic. I absolutely adore him so much. Um, but yeah, okay. Huh. I feel better having said all of that, gotten that off my chest.
all right.
Uh,
All right. Well, that's
but on that note, was
about
there
all we
anything else
got.
you wanted to mention?
Uh Not really. I think that's all I got.
All right.
Excited for the
Well, we do
holidays.
have, yes, we got that holiday special coming. We have a debate in that holiday special.
Yes, we do. And I am already like preparing.
I don't have notes. I have one main argument, and I'm gonna stick with that
I know what it is because
because
you already told me what it is. You said it before.
yeah, yeah. So this gives you the chance to change my opinion. I hope.
I'm working on it.
Because I'm one of these people like I'm very much open to changing my opinion about that. I'm very much okay with changing my opinion about that. Oh my gosh, can you hear my dog?
I can.
She cries like a human sometimes. Not that time, but sometimes. All right, on that note, we're going to have to take care of that. Those listening at home, oh gosh, you talk.
For those listening at home, thank you for joining us. Uh, be prepared for the Christmas special that's coming
Oh,
up.
ooh.
And yeah, and thanks for joining us.
And thank you for joining us. Yes. And have a good one.
Bye, everyone.